What is going on, D-Bags? We are back here again with another episode of the dtalks podcast, episode 217 to be exact. I believe this will be premiering for the 217th episode. Yes. The 217th episode of the dtalks podcast. I'm your host, Darren, Rita. Feel free to connect with me at any links down below. And if you're new here and enjoy music, podcasts, comedy, or hooping videos, do consider subscribing. We have a whole lot of that going on around here. When you do subscribe, leave a like, send super chat, or even just hang out with us in the live chat or the premiere chat in this case. Helps us share conversations and laughs like this with more people because YouTube is like, hey, something's going on over there. Let's check it out. So do consider doing that. Now, before I can get into today's episode and give you a little breakdown as to what's going on and introduce my guests, I got to talk to you guys a little bit about your grooming because I got a feeling you're not doing it right, or at least not to the best of your ability, right? We've all been there before. It's date night. You know, maybe you waited a few weeks too long to trim the hedges, and the little cutesy garden you had is turned into a little bit of a moist, sprawling, sweaty even, rainforest of sorts. You don't want that. So what do? You reach for that cheap razor that maybe you got from a Walmart, Target, whatever, 4 or 5 years ago. Maybe it's got a little bit of juice left in it. You turn it on, you start going to town. You realize very quickly you're playing a dangerous game, okay? And your most prized possessions are on the line. So you don't got to do that anymore. You got to go nuts. Go Nuts, which right here is what one looks like. Go Nuts is a revolutionary, first of its kind, patented design personal groomer that is unlike anything else on the market right now. So quit playing yourself with these products and these brands that swear that they're going to protect you, but then they use the same technology and end up leaving you with the same cuts and nicks, rashes and gashes, whatnot. You don't got to do that anymore. You just got to go nuts. Put your order in today at thegonuts.com. It's on the screen right now. It should also be linked down below. Use code RITA47. You can save some money, help support the channel as well, and get yourself a good razor that's going to get the job done and not leave you with any rashes or gashes. That's thegonuts.com. Like I said, it's linked down below. It's time to get your grooming right and go nuts. Now, with all that good stuff out of the way, I got to tell you guys why I'm here in the studio, and you're going to see me in a few seconds in a totally different place, wearing totally different things with a new human being. So with all that stuff out of the way, I thought I'd give you a little bit of context as to what was going on in this week's episode of the podcast. Obviously, it didn't actually happen this week. It happened about 3 or 4 weeks ago at this point now. Me and my homie, Michael Scott, who you guys know, he's been on the podcast a bunch of times, good friend of the show, good friend of mine. We decided to make the journey over to Ann Arbor to interview none other than Nathaniel White, also known as Tokiejoestar, who, if you don't know, is a phenomenally talented musician who plays the handpan, he plays the didgeridoo, the guitar, the piano, anything he can play it, okay? He's also a crazy good dancer, entertaining guy, and he has a big following to back him, about 1.2 million followers over on TikTok, as well as, I believe, well over 20,000 on Instagram and all these other things. We had been trying to work out an interview for a while, and scheduling just worked out that was the weekend we were going to make it happen, and so Mike and I, we loaded up the RAV, put the 200,000th mile on that thing, went about 13 and some change hours without eating, and buckled down and got this interview done. And it was a pleasure getting to meet Nathaniel and some of his other buddies that were at DidgePack, and got to sit down with them, talk a little bit about TikTok, a little bit about playing the handpan, playing the didgeridoo, some of the do's and don'ts. He even gave us a little bit of a breakdown on how to street perform, and that was a ton of fun. So I survived, in my death trap of a car to bring back this footage for you. So I really hope you enjoy. It's a candid conversation. Without further ado, here is the 217th episode of the dtalks podcast with Nathaniel White, also known as Tokiejoestar.
Welcome to the dtalks podcast. Yeah. Yes. Welcome to the dtalks pod where we don't know what the hell is going on. Yeah. Welcome to the dtalks podcast.
Yeah, Mike decided to come all the way out here with me, so that's exciting.
Yeah,
but
that's exciting.
Dude, we're here.
We are here.
We finally did it.
We did it.
Where are we specifically?
We are in a random park in Ann Arbor, Michigan.
Ann Arbor. First time in Michigan for me, by
That's
the way.
crazy.
Yeah.
That you guys are across like the river, well not the river, the lake.
The big lake.
The big lake.
The big baby ocean.
It is exactly that. I live right in Ludington, so like I'm right there, and we have a little boat, a little coal ship, the last one of its kind, called the Badger, that goes between our two states.
Yeah.
Little car ship.
I was gonna, it's funny enough, I was gonna take it.
You were gonna take the ferry?
Yeah, but then kind of like date and time wise, you were gonna be here or
It
wherever.
would have made sense if I would have been in Ludington, because not only would we have just done the podcast there, I also would have given you the grand tour of Ludington, which sucks that we're not there, because I know that place like the back of my hand. And I don't know where I am right now in Ann Arbor. I've never spent much time here. So.
We're in a park with, benches that are suspectly named, to say the least.
Yeah, that poor guy.
Yeah, Harry Coach, but
well,
not really. Not how I'm gonna say it.
I don't think he would pronounce it that way, honestly.
He wouldn't want us to say it that way.
I don't think so.
But I'm here with how would you say? I guess you're pretty popping over on TikTok, man. Popping TikTok sensation, handpan playing sensation. Tokiejoestar.
I wouldn't even say that, but I appreciate it.
Yeah, man.
I think the official title that I go by these days is just one of the many handpan men.
One of the many.
There have been a bunch of, over the years, like even from the early years of YouTube, people who play the handpan instrument and go viral just because the instrument itself is such a talking point. It's a big deal. Like people are like, what is that?
Yeah, I see lives all the time of just like a bald guy doing it.
Now that's something I want to get into at some point as well. There is actual handpan beef.
There is handpan beef.
There's some beef in the handpan community,
yeah.
just because it's such a core part of, specifically as a musician like myself or a hobbyist or enthusiast, it's a big part of your life.
Yeah.
And so
you care about it a lot.
You do.
People care about things intensely. People are going to feel other intense feelings.
Yeah, there's some interesting things I could tell you if you ask.
I will. Yeah, we'll get to it. Before we jump into all that, I want to give, obviously, some of my viewers are not going to know who you are, especially if they're not on TikTok or they're not on like the music side of TikTok. They might not have seen you. So we'll get kind of just a brief rundown. You're a TikToker who, from what I've seen, kind of rose in following due to your handpan playing, as well as sort of your didgeridoo playing and your personality, because you're a funny guy. So if you just want to, you give what you think or your story.
If I was going to introduce myself to someone, sure.
Yeah.
So I would say, hi, my name is Nathaniel White, otherwise known as Tokiejoestar, and I play the handpan. I make silly little jokes on TikTok, and I play pretty much every instrument that you can think of. And that's pretty much how I would say it, really. I've done so many different things content-wise over the years. I used to dance at my work at Home Depot.
You got the moves, bro. I know we like jokingly had some back and forths in the comments because I was messing around hitting a terrible robot, and I've seen you hit some crazy shit, bro.
They call me the funny dance man.
Your limbs move independently from each other. Yeah.
There's a lot of wiggliness there. There's not much else there. I don't pack a lot of muscle. I got the wiggles.
You've got the wiggle.
I'm animated by Tim Burton.
Sometimes I see you moving, and it reminds me of those blow up guys in front of car dealerships.
I've gotten that a lot.
Yeah. You got those vibes about you, man. But we mentioned that. Obviously, you're a TikToker. You're here. You're not in Ludington, where you're normally from, and where you normally film your stuff and perform. Which that's another thing we're going to touch on. You're also a street performer as well. But we are instead in Ann Arbor, and we are in Ann Arbor. Why?
So I am currently on one of the most fun boys trips I have ever been on with a group of friends from both TikTok and Discord and the internet, and we're calling it DidgePack.
Yeah.
And it's a big deal to me just because all it really is a boys' week. Just everyone flying in from like California, DC, Ohio, all to Detroit. From there, we were riding the People Mover and playing didgeridoos on it and being a public nuisance.
What's the People Mover for people that don't know?
I was only just introduced to the People Mover, but it's basically this little looped above ground subway like train system. It's 75 cents to ride, and you get this little People Mover token, and you put it into a turnstile, and then you just ride it, and it goes in a perfect loop around downtown Detroit. So you can take it. It's like between $3 and 4 minutes between each stop. I'd say even less than that. Sometimes it's stop after stop, but people get on, and it goes through buildings, all through downtown, and so.
Dude, that's badass. Look at Detroit out here, man.
The
That's
People
cool.
Mover do be moving people, though.
Yeah, that's a phenomenal name. Is that what it's actually called?
It's called the People Mover.
Dude,
the token says DPM, which is Detroit People Mover.
Yeah, well, it's good that there was another letter, because that would have been interesting.
Yeah, the other one. Yeah, I mean, Detroit's known for a lot of things. I wasn't entirely sure if they were known for that.
Yeah, but the People Mover, that's cool. That's very cool. So everyone flew to Detroit, met up there, and you guys are just playing the didgeridoo.
We're enjoying the didgeridoo. That, and we are protesting.
Okay, what are we protesting?
We are protesting Wallach.
What is Wallach? Maybe that's
hear
him.
that?
Maybe that's Wallach in the bushes right there. If their mics even picked it up.
I hope they did. That was suspect. That was just like Wallach.
Yeah. Wallach's everywhere. That's why we have to protest it. What is it though?
So Wallach. He's the worst. Yeah.
The worst kind of what?
Yes.
Yes. All of it. Screw Wallach.
Yeah, absolutely. Wallach is the worst. Did you know that the 2008 housing market crash caused by
Direct in correlation
Wallach.
to
Wallach? Yeah. Do you remember when Logan Pauled?
Yes, yes, I do. Yeah.
You know who put the body
He
there?
had a lapse in judgment. Yeah.
You know who put the body there?
Wallach. Wallach should have been the one apologizing then. Actually,
Wallach doesn't apologize, bro.
Yeah, no, he doesn't. So we're out here protesting him as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's interesting. Kind of. So piggybacking off the protesting aspect.
Yeah.
So obviously, I mentioned you're very popular over on TikTok. You've had many videos go viral. You have a lot of people that follow you just for the kind of person you are.
Yeah.
Speaking of protesting, maybe controversy-wise, I know recently there was sort of a debate on whether or not you specifically or people that look like you could play the didgeridoo.
There has been for a very long time groups of people who look at the didgeridoo and basically any instrument that has a native origin as something that white people or people who do not belong to that culture should not have the right to be able to enjoy, to play, or to experience. And generally speaking, there is some argument to whether or not using something that is strictly like in its own culture, a religious item or relic or something like that, if that is in bad taste. I have always been of the opinion that, like a great example is every culture during its stages of cultural development have come up with their own version of a drum. To come up with their own version of a flute, to come up with the core instruments that we kind of have. The one that really stands out is the didgeridoo, or as it's known in its native tongue as the yidaki. It was normally used for religious ceremonies of the mob peoples of Australia, and women were not allowed to play it. Only men were able to play it, and only particular men during certain ceremonies. So that was the original context in which it was written, right? So the argument is that it is culturally appropriative for me or someone like me to play it, regardless of where I got it. Right, the one that I have over here actually is a eucalyptus tree that was handmade and hand carved in Australia by one of the members of the mob tribes. And so I couldn't tell you who. But
so people would say that you shouldn't play it then.
Yeah, even if you're getting it from the original makers, even if you go to the tribal people and you ask for permission to play it, and people have done these things. Still, people will say it's not enough. And so I kind of just get down to the point of the argument where I think that music as a way of artistic expression belongs to everyone. It is your birthright by the fact that you are a human being, and humans have, grown around music, and that's just one of the ways that we express ourselves. So I just feel that it is wrong to try to tell someone that they can't or shouldn't try something if they're doing it in the right context. And to be fair, we just love the sound of the didgeridoo. That's why we're doing this whole Digipack thing. Like, we're a bunch of guys, we enjoy hanging out with each other, obviously, and we have a bunch of inside jokes from how we interact online, but the main thing really is just the fact that we love the didgeridoo. We all play it all the time. And so it's just for us something that brings us together. And I would tell anyone, if you have something that unifies you to a group of people that you genuinely care about, don't let anything get in the way of your ability to enjoy that.
Here's what I would say too, and I don't know the full context of the argument, right? Maybe we can try and in an exercise steelman their side of the argument or something and shake it. But from just an outsider's perspective, someone who doesn't really have an opinion on it specifically and doesn't really maybe understand the full scope of things, it seems like if you're adding, you're not taking away from said culture or said specific instrument and the way it's been used. And again, this could be my ignorance, I don't really see an issue with that, right? Because in my case, right, I know I've heard the name Didgeridoo before us
or Yidaki, if you're calling it the other name. Yes,
yeah, like I've seen it credited on certain TV shows and other things, like as being part of a score and whatnot. But other than when you guys started posting about it, I was unaware. And I'm sure there's plenty of other people that maybe would have maybe picked it up because they've seen, a group of people playing these interesting instruments and doing so in a way that's, you're sharing the love, right? Where it's like, I don't know how many people play the didgeridoo, but I know it's not a lot. Yeah. Or at least from personal experience, it's not a lot. So if you're actively encouraging more people to tap into a culture, I mean, that would be, I'm trying to not like straw man it, but it seems like that would be almost like, oh, you like, a certain ethnic food. Well, you're white, you can't have that. Yeah. But it's like, dude, if I love whatever and I'm sharing that with more people and I'm supporting these businesses, I'm going to authentic places and whatever, like,
yeah,
I feel like that's kind of a good thing.
I've heard the arguments for the people, and I've pissed people off to the point where I've just had to start blocking people when they're in there, because there are people that will say terribly hateful things about you as an individual, just proclaiming that the reason that you're doing this is just out of selfishness, of ignorance, of trying to gain some kind of money or funding, or you're still piggybacking off the back of a culture that is not yours. Yeah. And I understand people's rage and anger in that, because when it comes to things that are kind of core to the culture you come from, or core to your people's history, I can understand wanting to be defensive of those things. Heck, I'm defensive.
Being protective, right?
Yeah, I'm the same way with the handpan. That's why I have beef with other handpan players, where I see it as they're doing things that are either disrespectful or not indicative of the rest of the handpan community. Yeah. And when I see it, I stand up for it. So I'm not telling people to shut up. Yeah. If you feel like what I'm doing is wrong, you are more than welcome to tell me. Yeah. And I will listen to what you have to say. And I've heard basically every argument under the sun.
Yeah, so what's the best one you've heard? What's like that makes the most, if there was one that made the most sense of a reason you shouldn't play it?
If there was one that made the most sense as to why you should not play the didgeridoo, it's that there is not a singular agreed upon stance that each tribe has about the didgeridoo. Some tribes say, no, it's okay if certain people play this as long as it's in a ceremonial context or something along those lines. Otherwise, don't be using it outside of that. Or there's another group, specifically there is someone who is proclaimed as the custodian of the instrument in his family, like a direct line as some people who continually make some of the best didgeridoos or yidakis in the world. His name's Jalu Garawiwi, and really funny name. Yeah. Really cool sounding name. Yeah. But he says that it's for everybody, man, woman, or child. Now, there's a couple tribes that very vehemently disagree with that position and say that the only reason he says that is because he also sells them. Yeah. So there's so much diversity of thought when it comes to should you or shouldn't you. I've come to the conclusion for myself that I respect the people, I respect the opinions of people who say I shouldn't, and I will always try to give them the opportunity to speak up. Yeah. But when you start just blatantly harassing people for their interests or for their pursuit of doing something that I argue in this case is purely transformative, at that point, I might just turn off my listening ears. I'm just like, look, everything that I'm doing here is with the utmost respect and appreciation for an instrument that I personally love.
Yeah, and I will say too, I mean, I don't know, as an instrument, like you were saying earlier, when it comes to music, it's like it's an offering. Once you've created an instrument, not saying that there's no such thing as a sacred instrument. Oh yeah, but especially, this is from what I've heard. I mean, there's tons of musical scores and films and whatnot that use either didgeridoos or didgeridoo sounding instruments. Like, what would be somebody's perspective on if I had it plugged into a MIDI and I'm playing it on there, I'm making the same noises.
And like I said, not to kind of dumb down the whole expanse of the argument. There's a lot of legitimate opinions. Yeah. at the end of the day, I think it comes down to your personal decision.
Yeah.
And with that, it goes with any instrument. Like, you know, there might be someone who thinks that it's morally wrong of you to, I don't know, play
French horn
because you're not French.
Yeah.
That or something along those lines. I think the key thing that sets this apart is the fact that this was a religious instrument. But you know what else was a religious instrument?
The organ.
The organ.
Yeah.
That was one of my key examples I used in my video as well, where I explained that the original intention was for chants and hymns. It was originally invented as a Greek instrument and then was adapted into the Roman Catholic Church and was only used in that context. And then, of course, you have jazz music, which uses an organ, like the Hammond organ, crazy in jazz. And you hear that everywhere, and it's used namely in a secular context in jazz, meaning it's not religious at all. It's just music.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's wrong for there to be a transformative idea.
Aspect of it, right?
No matter
You're
what.
not mocking the religion. You're
No.
not like going and like.
If I was, call me out
Exactly.
on it.
Yeah.
And some people will argue that no matter what,
It is.
It is.
Okay.
So
That's fair.
that's just where I say, you know, agree to disagree.
I can understand that. I think it's good. And to kind of wrap that up, I think too it's important to note that there is intent, I think, that matters as well in something like this, where it's like your intent isn't to take from any culture. Your intent isn't to harm any culture. Your intent is to play something that you enjoy because you love it. And then
absolutely.
And from what I've seen, and we'll get to what I've seen because why we're in Ann Arbor specifically, we kind of touched on a little bit with what's going on with the didgeridoos. There's people here that didn't play the didgeridoo until yourself and others like you were playing it online, and then they decided, you know, that looks fun. And now they have a love
I want to come to Ditchpack. That's crazy. I want to play the didgeridoo with one of my favorite TikTok creators. I want to go meet him. And I'm like super down to earth. I love meeting people that recognize me from places. I'm just like, heck yeah, you can come and hang out with me. I'd love that.
Yeah, that's sick, dude. And that's what. So we're at it's Ditchpack
2023.
Ditchpack 2023. It's like we said, it's a little bit of a gathering of didgeridoo players.
Yeah, I would say at the end of the day, it's probably the best way to describe it is a glorified boys' week. It's just we're out here. We're coming from a bunch of different lives and backgrounds, but we all are like acquaintances from the internet, and we want an opportunity and excuse to meet in person.
Yeah.
And what better way to do that than a giant inside joke?
Yeah.
About Wallach, of all things.
Yeah. Fuck Wallach, man.
Fuck Wallach, man.
I can't stand that.
He is an awful guy.
But yeah, so we kind of touched on sort of what Ditchpack is and what it means to you to play the didgeridoo. I'm interested in specifically how you came to know and start playing these like somewhat niche instruments.
Yeah.
Because I mean, for me, before the didgeridoo stuff, I knew you as somebody who played the handpan. Mm-hmm. We got linked up off a video of you doing some stuff with ukulele and some other things.
An accordion.
And an accordion,
also.
yeah, some cool shit, man. And so, but then as I'm going through your page, I'm seeing a lot of handpan stuff, and I'm like, damn, this guy's killing this thing. And other than the lives I'd mentioned before, I really hadn't seen many people doing it. So. It's not a super popular instrument. People don't, little kids when they're, 6, 7 years old aren't going to didgeridoo and handpan practice, usually piano, maybe guitar.
Yeah.
So how do you get introduced to more of these niche instruments?
Yeah, so I was homeschooled growing up because I have two.
The interview's over. I knew there was something wrong with this guy. I could tell. That's what it is.
So a lot of homeschoolers have that niche, whatever it is.
What do you think that is?
What causes that?
Yeah, what do you think it is?
I think it's just an abundance of time.
Yeah. Because you get all the schoolwork done whenever, probably right away.
Having the fluidity and ability to kind of choose where your learning happens and how, having that flexibility is something that I will never stop saying is a good thing. A lot of people really focus on like hyperbolic stereotypes of what is or what is not, like, I don't know, like a social like stereotype that you see from people who have it's like, avoiding eye contact, being super weird, kind of horse girly. You can take all those tropes that you see in TikTok specifically, like people who will talk like this.
Yeah, oh god.
It's cringe. It's cringe humor.
But I on the homeschool stuff, I do gotta ask, not to cut you off, is it nice being able to go to the bathroom whenever you want?
Dude, that was something.
Or does mom and dad not let you still? Because I had to ask to go to the bathroom. I went to a public school, man, so I would ask, and sometimes the teacher would dead ass be like, no. And it's like, and some background for maybe people that are tuning in for you that don't know me and haven't followed the show. I got great grades. I was a people pleaser, good student.
People
right?
pleaser to
yeah,
the forehand.
I was a great student. And I just asked to go to the bathroom before certain classes, and my teachers and I would fight about this. And I'm like, dude, it's crazy. So were you able to go to the bathroom?
Well, that's actually one of the reasons I was homeschooled, believe it or not.
Really? Mm-hmm. What happened?
I got diagnosed as a kid with EOE, which is a rare disease that makes it very hard to have all different types of food.
Yeah.
And it's not a standard allergy, it's an actual autoimmune disorder.
Yeah.
And on top of that, I got diagnosed with Crohn's disease.
Okay.
So when you're talking bathroom times,
Yeah.
suddenly it becomes something where we're not even going to worry about messing with the public school system on that.
Yeah, because they're
And
not.
I had so many like medical procedures constantly throughout my early childhood.
That would have been difficult schedule-wise too. They're not as flexible.
Exactly.
Damn, man.
Yeah.
Well, that makes.
That's
okay.
something that a lot of people don't know about me
Yeah.
because I don't make my platform about my illness.
Yeah.
I'm willing to talk about it with anybody, and a lot of people are like, "Oh, I also have EOE,"
Yeah.
or "Hey, I also have Crohn's disease." That's crazy, but I don't really talk about it as much as I used to, just because I'm at this point with dealing with your own medical stuff as an adult. It's really hard as a transition, and I didn't want that to be the only thing that people know me for. I'd much rather people know me as like, oh, what an eclectic weirdo who plays a bunch of crazy instruments from around the world. Like, know me as that.
Well, you don't want. Yeah, I mean, you don't want your, because you're more than the things you're dealing with medically, right? So that makes sense. That makes a bunch of sense.
But
Okay,
yeah,
so that's
I was
part
able
of
to
the
go to
reason.
the bathroom pretty much whenever I needed to, and there were
Sick.
times I really needed to.
Yeah. Damn, Ron, jealous. I threatened to bring a bomb to school one time to one of my teachers. Straight up, bro. Told her, I said,
Like you're not pulling like a Bart Simpson like cherry bomb in the toilet.
no,
type
I
thing,
mean,
like
I was
protest.
joking. No, I was obviously
You-
like joking, but
okay,
I said
yeah.
this to a real teacher, and she was so defeated,
Dude,
man.
bringing a didgeridoo out in public and protesting Wallach is a joke. What
Yeah.
you're talking about is domestic
This is
terrorism.
Here's the thing, man. This was what, like, when were we in high school? I'm 24 now, so it was a while ago. But yeah, it was. I had a teacher who. We had each other 2 years in a row. I was in advanced math classes, and I hated it. And I was like just smart enough to be in there, but the dumbest kid in the smart kids class. So she wasn't a fan. So she was just defeated. We would just go back and forth about this bathroom thing every day. So she just said, whatever, when I said I'm going to bring a bomb to school. That's not good.
That's not
good.
the response most teachers would have.
She
boys
doesn't
and
work
girls.
there anymore, so it's.
If you are having a fight with any of your teachers or student leaders, remember, don't do what Darren did.
Yeah, don't do it.
Don't threaten to bring a bomb to your school.
No, it's hilarious because then it was actually like later that day because my class, like everybody in that class was like, dude, is this for, like, did he really just say, like, because I'm also into like messed up jokes and whatnot, but I realized as it came out of my mouth, I was like, yeah, that's my teacher. I can't say that. I could say that to the boys in the hall. I can't say that to, Miss whatever. We're not going to say her name.
Sophomore.
Yeah, and so then later that evening we were like doing some stuff for an event, and there was like I for some reason was on the theater stage, and there was a prop, like old school, like cannonball, and I just like posted. I was like, I'll see you guys tomorrow. But just to like my 4 friends, not like we had a kid at our school for real in the parking lot with like an AK-47 and post like don't come to school today, and thought that and posted on his story, mind you, like a private story. So we've had some crazy kids. I'm from a scary small town, but I'm a jokester, okay? I'm not like these actual kids. We had a couple scares with some real potential shooters.
Do we need to go to therapy together? Because we're talking about some things
I need
that are
to,
like.
man. I could use it.
I found a therapist because of my girlfriend, and I'll tell you right now, homie is awesome. Justin, if you are watching this, I love you.
Shout out Justin. Shout out the girlfriend that got him there. That put you in there.
Shout out Sky. Shout out Sky.
Justin's gotta be hyped,
Love her.
bro. That's sick, man. But so we kind of we'll get back on topic. We talked a little bit. So you were homeschooled. That's kind of how you got into. You had extra time.
I had a lot of extra time, and it's not just like this stuff. Like you think that this stuff is like this is the tip of the iceberg. Like I did 5.5 years of professional Muppet style puppet theater. I did that. I can still do that.
Yeah?
You
You got a good Kermit voice? I can kind of hear a little Kermit in the back there.
Yeah, no, my voice. Miss Piggy, I can't kiss you. That's not halal.
That's great, dude. That's phenomenal. Okay, yeah, there we go. Damn, so you was in a traveling Muppet theater.
Not even a traveling one. We just had I worked with my dad's a pastor.
Okay.
So I'm a PK as well. Shout out all my PKs, all the religious trauma we went through. We made it.
We here. We out here.
We out here.
We out here, bro.
We out here and drumming in church.
The Muppet, yeah. These Muppet shows or these puppet shows weren't like just like sock puppets with you doing the Kermit.
I scripted these things.
These were
man.
real. Wow.
I did full like. So are you familiar with the idea of VBS, like Vacation Bible School? There'll be like.
No, man. No. I'm not very religious. I went to some stuff when I was younger, but I just not very
Vacation
religious.
Bible School is just like a summer week. So all the kids are already out of school, and so they'll have like an event at church where they just come every day from like a certain time, and so they do like little Bible lesson learnings and then a bunch of activities. And it's a great way to get them out of the house during the summer for the parents to just kind of chillax a little bit, and put them in the custody of just a bunch of like. Teenagers who are going like, boy, I can't wait to have a career in ministry, and by the end of it, just going, I never want to see a child again.
Yeah, then they're atheists by the end of it. Yeah. And they're like, actually, I don't believe anymore.
Like the large percentage of teenagers who stop going to church and never come back, and they're just like, it was that one VBS for me. It had a puppet show, and it just hit me different. Now,
yeah, this kid, his Kermit impression was too good.
It was too good. It just made me realize God's not real.
Yeah,
it's just
I could see it. Okay, so you were doing a lot of stuff. So
magic, stand-up magic, hypnotism. I was a hypnotist for like 3 or 4 years.
You hypnotize me?
I actually could.
You could do it?
Very easily, yeah.
Do we do it?
Do you do it?
I think we do it. Do we have? Is this like a long process? Or?
It takes a while. We can.
How long would if you had to guesstimate?
Well, it depends on the person. I just did it last night though to the Digipack boys, and they were like, "This is."
That's how you got everybody here.
Yeah, not really. No, remember, this is not my event.
Yeah,
I am just here.
You're just here.
It's Joey's event.
Got you.
Good old Slavic Tupac. What a guy. But yeah. So with being homeschooled, I just had a lot of niche interests, and I had the time to focus on them, and I enjoyed them. Socially, I am what I would consider not necessarily rare in the homeschool community, but I'm a social butterfly. I am a people pleaser like you, and I've always been the entertainer. I think that's what drove me to be successful on TikTok in the first place. I joined right after the Musical.ly rebrand in like 2017. And after that, I've gone under like 6 different names in that meantime, and each account would eventually get banned for some edgy joke. I actually had the FBI show up at my house one time because, remember the great Furry War? Remember when that was a thing?
The Furry War.
That was, for those of you who
We interviewed a furry a while back on the show.
Yeah.
Good friend of mine, Jackson Fox.
To be fair, I dated a furry, so...
Yeah?
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah.
What do you guys get into?
Let's just say her persona was a hyena and leave it at that.
Okay. I like it. Cool. Hell yeah.
2 words.
Get out here, bro.
Pseudo penis.
Wow. Wow. Dude, this week.
Okay, got that. That was going in a TikTok clip of all the things. Dang it.
That's a great clip right there. So you guys, so you dated a furry? Wow.
Yeah,
okay.
but
there was a Furry War. What was the Furry War? Was it way back when it was
early days of TikTok? Musical.ly was a safe space for a lot of people in marginalized communities, either gay people or in the LGBTQ or the furry community or cosplay, which at the time was far less normalized or popular than it is today.
Yeah.
And
TikTok's to thank for that too. I think.
To be fair, it is.
Yeah.
But it was also a push from people like me. We saw PewDiePie reacting to TikToks on his YouTube channel after he kind of rebranded after a certain bridge incident. And after that, he was doing meme review. And so he would review memes. And a lot of my friends got featured on meme review. And I was like, I'm hopping on TikTok. I have to be featured in a PewDiePie video. Yeah. I don't think I ever did. But what happened as a result was I was a failing college student going nowhere.
What were you going to school for?
I had no idea.
Okay.
I started off
So
thinking I want to design robots and I want to do crazy cool stuff, and then I failed most of my just early gen ed classes, and I was just like, dang, okay, well, I'll try to focus on...
Who was your homeschool teacher, mom or dad?
My mom. My mom actually went to
you
school.
dropped the ball on that. Why you didn't prep him for college? He failed. He flunked it. I'm just kidding, Mom. I'm just kidding.
It really wasn't her fault, because my mom actually graduated from Mount Holyoke Women's College for music instruction, and then from Grand Valley State University summa cum laude for teaching. So my mom was a teacher before she had me.
She was qualified for this.
She still is qualified.
This is on your ass, then.
This was on my ass.
Yeah, okay.
I got a little taste of freedom, and I played Dungeons and Dragons and went to music production classes, and then wasted the rest of my time.
So an average homeschooler that,
Yeah,
goes to
everyone
college.
else had their social experience. I got a little taste of freedom in the sense that, like, I had this social opportunity that I didn't have before. Like, I went to, like, youth group, and I was a part of youth events, and I was in, like, a community band growing up. So I did a lot of, like, extracurricular activities, and my test scores were fantastic. They were good. So I had no issue, like, getting scholarships for college, but then once I got to college, I was just like, man, look at all these people, and none of the people want to hang out because everyone's already had their high school, like, experiences. They're just there to get their 2-year degrees and dip to their actual college that they want to go to. I was just at a community college.
Yeah.
But I made a lot of good friends there. The only thing is I did not make friends who were very good students. I was just hanging out and
Just vibing.
I was vibing.
Yeah.
I don't regret it, but I do wish I had taken it a bit more seriously. But if I had, I wouldn't have gotten started with TikTok.
Yeah.
And if I hadn't gotten started with TikTok, I wouldn't have met a lot of people who are really core and important people in my life because of the content I made on that app.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have any success in, like, music performance or handpan stuff or anything like that.
Yeah.
And so I attribute a lot of that just to the platform that TikTok was. Not necessarily is anymore, but, like, what it was and how viral it allowed me to be just by being myself.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that I will talk about forever is that, short form content and what TikTok provided to people like me was a place to finally let our weirdness show and to really get to enjoy showing that to the world without fear of what happens if I walk away from this, or is this even worth my time? Because it was so volatile that you could do anything and people would know you as that guy who did that thing that one time. It really just speed ran the whole idea of your 15 minutes of fame.
Yeah, I mean, it felt like, especially in the early days of TikTok, like, even now to an extent, there's still, like, that's still a way to, become successful, is to just, you get one video that does okay, and then it's just do that video again and again and again and again and again and again and again. And usually to lesser success as it goes on, but it's like the only thing you can get going.
Yeah, that's the thing where I feel like I got really lucky. My platform has had a lot of hits from different places. Like people who follow me for my silly wiggly dancing that I do in my kitchen, right, with my clock in the background or whatever, or for the handpan and the music I make, or because they are just waiting for me to drop a song that never got released. And to be fair, there's about like 2 albums worth of music that I've worked on in the 4 or 5 years I've been really working on music for TikTok that, due to extenuating circumstances, one has an NDA and I can't say anything about, but I have had to learn the hard way in a lot of areas in music. Specifically, I wanted to just be like, I want to make music. I want to go on TikTok and make music and promote it there and we'll do fine. And then I got screwed, and then I got screwed again.
How'd you get screwed? What'd you do?
I worked with a producer who I was friends with for a long time. I was, in fact, in a band with him for a short period of time. He's just a local guy, and I looked up to him. He was a kid and a little bit younger than me. Had a lot of really interesting music industry connections. But at the end of the day, he treated me like he was giving me like the homie price. Like, yeah, we'll get this stuff produced for you. I'll take care of all this stuff. And I was still paying him, and I didn't know it, roughly what I'd pay basically any other producer, and I wasn't getting the same returns. Like, I was paying producer prices, getting homie returns. And later, I don't even know what changed, but he just decided all at once that he didn't want to work with me anymore, and we never signed any contracts that would say what I would get for what I paid him. And so everything was just kind of by word of mouth and by group text, and he made sure to delete at least on his side. Like we did everything over Telegram because it's easy to transfer files that way. And he just deleted all of his profiles and blocked me on everything. He's like, hey, look, we're not making music together anymore. And I was like, okay, fine. If that's what you want to do, just send me the files that we have worked on so I can find a different producer. And then he's like, oh, I'll send them to you in the mail.
Music MP3s in the mail?
In the mail, dude?
You get a flash drive ever or a hard drive? No.
I was waiting for one though.
Yeah.
And then I tried to shoot him a DM and he had already deactivated all of his other social media accounts.
Damn, man.
And then I couldn't get in touch with him. And so I went through a friend of a friend, right? I had to reach out through a friend of a friend and I was like, hey, tell him if he doesn't get me those files that I paid for, like I'll have no other choice but to sue because I've spent years making music with this guy. Where are the files? Yeah. And then he claimed, like, how dare you try to contact me through this other person and threaten them? I was like, how else am I supposed to contact you, bro?
Yeah, other than it's that or I'm going to subpoena you to court, so, you know, that's...
And I would have won, honestly, with the amount of info I have on this guy.
What was the relationship, if you don't mind me asking? Because you're a multi-instrumentalist, you know, we know that about you. So
I'm not a producer. I have... like a gear to record. I've never really spent a lot of time to figure out how to do it for myself. I'm doing that now.
You were more so like he was sort of
the producer,
just recording it, maybe mixing, mastering, stuff like
mastering, beat making, stuff like that with my ideas.
Yeah.
And that's typically worked well for me. And I have a lot of collaborators now that I'm good friends with that I do have contracts signed for.
Yeah.
That
you learned, right?
I learned to respect my time and to respect what I'm worth. But it took me feeling like I was in a bad relationship with like an ex-boyfriend. Like, where's my sweater? And then just no response. Red, left on red.
Yeah, that sucks, man.
Yeah, that's the good news is, like, you know, I've learned to forgive him. I will still tell people if they ask, like, hey, was that so-and-so? I'll say, oh yeah, that was so-and-so. I'm not sure if he's changed or if he's worth working with. I'm not even gonna say his name. Not worth my time. But homie was and is a weirdo. So I've learned my lesson, and I've had to learn it multiple times in different ways. And so that's why I don't have a lot of music out. My goal for this year is to finally make the music just keep dropping it and see what happens. TikTok is no longer an easy place for self-promoting, as you've probably noticed.
Yeah, no, it's not. It doesn't. Yeah, the music side of things. It's great for those guys that got in maybe a year, 2 years ago, because now they can do with. I feel like, especially once you already have the following, if you have decent music and you already have the following, it's awesome because you just drop another video of you singing it. You know, shoot it on a nice camera. It don't even have to be anything else.
I don't even know how to do that half. I'm gonna have to talk to you guys about how to do something like this.
Yeah. We'll definitely talk before we wrap and whatnot today. But yeah, it's you know, now I feel like it's. TikTok, the great part about TikTok is that it sort of democratized the music industry specifically, as well as like pretty much everything with social media, that it was like, you know, it feels like everything for the longest was somebody blows up, they get really lucky to hit the lottery. And then what do? They want to make it easier to hit the lottery. So they just go link up with all the other guys that hit the lottery. And then it's like the rich get richer. Those guys, they have their clout houses and whatever, and they just keep all the views for themselves. And all these other people just are hoping that one day maybe get to hang out with the cool kids.
Yeah.
And so I feel like TikTok, especially when it came to the social media people, for a while was kind of freeing that up, and then especially with music democratized it. And now I feel like we are getting into maybe a stage where it's kind of circled back around to all those guys that really blew up on TikTok, guys and gals. They're all working with each other, and it looks awesome. I'm watching it. I'm like, man, this looks cool.
Yeah,
you guys are vibing.
Even late stage stuff, like if you have connections in the industry, like someone like Ice Spice, for example, who already knew famous people, and was able to get onto TikTok to do what she has done. It's still possible. Still possible.
Gotta love it. Yeah. She's a munch. I'm a munch. Am I a munch? I don't know. I don't even know what a munch is.
I don't know.
I've been trying to figure it out.
You got a little red in your mustache, so I would say I can't judge.
I'm a munch. Yeah, that maybe I am. But yeah, man, that's what I kind of want to get to with social media, specifically TikTok, maybe more so, and music. We were talking a little bit before we went live about kind of the difficulty of maneuvering that, getting through that when you're trying to make stuff that is important to you, that you actually care about, and that you actually feel, and then. It seems the only way now, in the way TikTok is sort of presenting itself, or at least what it's rewarding, is for you to take that thing that's really special to you and either compromise it or dumb it down from a marketing standpoint to its simplest, most rudimentary version to get any clicks and whatnot, and you just want to get people to the song, right? You fucking worked on it. You already did all the hard work. This should be the easy, fun part.
Yeah, the difference of me trying to drop a Handpan album and the ease of just going, what sounds better, and then playing it in the water, or playing like stuff like that, where, you know, if that's your content, you do you, but like at the same time, like it's very difficult, and I get exactly what you're saying because I've lived it. Yeah. Like I've dropped a song earlier this year called Nightmare. It's my magnum opus of musical sound writing on the Handpan, honestly. And it's just the acoustic version that I released. I still have a full like pop version with vocals I've been working on for the past 2 years. And it's still not ready yet because it's my magnum opus. It's my favorite song I've ever written. And I want to do it justice. But I tried to post about just the fact that I released a song on SoundCloud recently just to get people interested in whether or not they would want to hear handpan music from me. Yeah. And it's got like 15 listens with 1.2 million, follower
That's what I'm saying. For people, for context, this guy.
That's a lot of followers.
Yeah, 1.2 million on TikTok. Several thousand over on Instagram. 20-some thousand on Instagram. Like, it's not like it's some random kid from your high school being like, check out my new song on SoundCloud. But it feels like it, you're saying.
Because the algorithm just quashes it.
Doesn't care.
The algorithm is able to recognize either by speech pattern recognition or anything along those lines when you're actually trying to sell something. Yeah. If you're trying to do that on their platform, they want a piece of the pie, and so that's where promotion comes in, and that's why algorithmically it's very difficult now to do what you used to be able to do when the platform was really, truly free.
Yeah, that's the thing with all these social media platforms, they start that way, and then they get to a stage where they're like, okay, now we give you the free thing, now we want to cash in. We want our payback now. Yeah. And it makes it tough because they're not going to want to reward anything that's going to drive people off of their app. So if you drop a dope song on Spotify, unless, at least I guess if you distribute it, it will be on TikTok too for people to make songs.
Yeah, the new thing is TikTok Music, which I am heavily invested in for what I'm going to be doing with the next year or two, actually releasing music. Because I do, like with my life, I do a little bit of everything, and that's really hard when you want to be successful at one thing. Yeah. I might just end up choosing that one thing in the next year or so and just say that's what I'm doing. Yeah. And I'm sure whatever it is, I'd be successful at it. I believe that for a fact. But I sing, I rap, I can. The main thing that people know me for now is I freestyle songs off the top of my head, and I'm really good at it. Where like you just give me a niche thing, like write a song about a rooster falling out of a plane, and it's like done. And it's got a rhyme scheme, and it's got a bridge, and it's got a solo on it, and I do it all just off the top of my head. Yeah. And it's something I enjoy doing, and I've been doing it for years. My mom used to say, "Are you singing naughty songs again?" Because when I'm upset or something, I'd just be like, "Oh, I'm in my room, and I feel really great because my mom just grounded me, and this really sucks and whatever." Yeah. And you think, oh, that's something everyone does, right? It's just like you're just kind of humming to yourself.
That sounds like a homeschool thing.
It's probably a homeschool thing.
I'm not gonna lie, no, but
just like gifted kid. Hey, band kids out there, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, they feel it.
They feel it.
They
hardcore
feel it out there. Yeah. Do you ever? You mentioned. So we talked a little bit. You writing songs off the top, freestyle, and you rap a little bit. We talked earlier. You kind of dropped some hints that there might be some beef in the handpan community. Where's the handpan diss track? When's that coming out?
Never.
Never.
So I used to have the opinion that would probably be the best thing for me. The thing is,
doing diss tracks with the handpan? That'd be sick, bro.
It would be sick, but like it's also a level of like interpersonal toxicity that just having dealt with hate from other handpan players like followings. Yeah. As a result of just raising awareness of some of the things that are not so great. Like, hey, the company that this person works for that's in their bio, it's like a Chinese handpan company. It's kind of crappy quality. And it's the same price of one that you could get from like an American, like custom, like local maker of handpans for the same price, if not cheaper. Yeah. And so me saying something like that is sounding like, well, you're attacking this guy. You're coming for his throne. You're blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I'm not. Yep. But as someone who grew up a kid obsessed with wanting to get my hands on a handpan and realizing that these instruments are each individually handmade, handcrafted, and they're at least $1,000 for a decent one. Yeah. Like if you want to get your hands on one as a kid, you're out of luck because you got to make a lot of money first, or you got to find some kind of sponsorship from your parents or grandma or something like that just to be able to afford one. But once you get your hands on one, if you imagine you get one and then it's crap.
That would suck, yeah.
That's what I want to avoid. If I can, be the protective older brother and make sure that your first experience with the thing that I have a lot of experience in is good, That's what I'd rather do. But I don't think there's any real beef in the community. It's just there's personal preference in how the instrument is presented.
Yeah.
And some people argue that the way other people do it is not indicative of how they should do that.
Maybe not ethical.
Once again, it comes back to the didgeridoo argument. It's all a matter of opinion. And those people would say to someone like me, hey, you have no right to tell me what I can and cannot do. And to be fair, they're right.
Yeah.
And so I think in that way, like, you know, I have learned that I need to be as tolerant of other people expressing their opinions or their content with musical instruments in ways that I don't agree with. The same way that I'm sure other people might have to deal with that with me playing the didgeridoo or something like that.
Yeah, I think too it's interesting when it comes to specifically like the internet and comment sections and whatnot. People, I've noticed this as influence has grown. People have a tough time remembering that like there are real people, like we're all like real human beings that are like, I'm reading your comment. Like a lot of people say shit in the comments. It's cliche to say, but it's like people say stuff in the comments that like they would not talk to me that way. You're not going to talk to me with that level of sass or that level of disrespect, like in person, you know?
And the fun part too is I get some comments like that, and then occasionally I dunk on them. You know, you take that one out of the stack, and then you look at it funny, you play a funky sound in the background, and you're just like, hey, look at this guy. And then, you know, shame kicks in. They're like, oh, delete the comment.
Yeah, well, my thing too with a lot of times it's like it's so misguided, or like people lack full context of whatever it is they're commenting or hating on. Like, I can't tell you how many times, even on like a 45-second clip from a podcast, someone will watch the first like 40 seconds, not even 40 seconds, first 20 seconds of the joke and be like, what the, and just like comment something like, well, obviously it's blah, 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 blah.
Without getting the context.
And it's like, dude, if you like, we literally answered the question in the clip, like just finish the clip. But you know, that happens, and a lot of people, so I always try to respond with like grace and try to be, you know, positive and kill them with kindness. Pretend I'm working, you know, my customer service jobs at that point. But yeah, you know, social media is pretty interesting. I'm curious. So obviously we talked a little bit about stereotypes with being homeschooled, but what's the stereotypes, maybe red flags or specific niche things that to help people spot somebody who's a handpan player or a didgeridooer? What are the stereotypes? If someone was going to make a video on what are those sketches where it'll be like watches Gary Vee once, and then it's a guy like doing all like the bits that Gary Vee does, like what would be like if they watched Tokiejoestar watches Tokiejoestar once? What does that video look like?
Watches Tokiejoestar once, and then the rest of the video is just this. It's just like
is he on? Are you getting that? Get it, hit that shit. Hey, look at him. That's great.
It's something like that.
Yeah,
Or like watches Tokiejoestar once. Oh, here's a perfect example. Watches Tokiejoestar once.
Did you get that? Jesus Christ. Holy shit, dude. Okay. So those are,
like picks up magic tricks or does like, I don't know.
So these other guys that are here with us So okay, so even like some of these other guys that are here today playing the didgeridoo, what would be a dead giveaway aside from holding the giant stick-looking thing that somebody could play the didgeridoo? If you had to guess, what would be a stereotype?
They look like a bisexual man.
A bisexual man.
Yeah. You would fit. You would play a good didgeridoo.
You think I could play?
Absolutely.
I could hit the didgeridoo. Yeah. First time I've gotten that one, but I'll take it.
I think
I'll accept it. We're here.
That, and I would argue this as well. If they have a very strong distaste for Wallach.
Yeah, Wallach. Yeah, hating Wallach helps for sure. Okay,
absolutely.
that makes sense. Now, there's been some talk here in this podcast about your street performing days.
Still going.
You're still doing it. You've got some instruments here for us.
Absolutely.
To check out. And I know we're not on the street. We're in a park, a random park.
Technically, we're in a random park.
But we're on some cement here, so you know, streets are made of cement as well.
Disqualifies.
So we can do some street performing if you're so willing. I'd love for you to give us.
Let me give you a
demo.
walk-on on how to play in public to make money. How would you do that? Here's the answer. So you would pull up kind of like this. You just walk over here, find yourself a nice seating arrangement in a public area with a good bit of foot traffic. And at that point, you very quickly take out your beaten and battered cardboard sign with all of your QR codes slapped to it, right?
Get you a new cardboard sign.
I need to get me a new cardboard sign.
Maybe you guys need to order a pizza on this trip and save the box.
Something like that. So we do that. You get out your other niche instruments, and this is important, a grandma jar. I cannot stress this enough. It has to be a grandma jar. There's a little bit of psychology that goes into street performing. For all of you new street performers, you cannot go out into the public with an empty jar. Because what does that say about you? The answer is it says you're not a very good performer because no one's given you money yet. So if you're going out, get some ones, get some tens, get some money, and then try to kind of crumple it like this so that you get this nice used feeling to it, and you get a little bit more volume to fill up the jar. So now, as you can see here, it actually looks like I'm a pretty good street musician because I have a little bit more money in there, and it obscures it with these nice little textural patterns.
Yeah, you don't want to look too good though.
No, exactly.
That's
where having a guitar or a handpan comes in handy, because they actually have little chambers in them that you can just quickly go and stick it in there.
Duck the cash in there.
A little less easy with the guitar, granted, since you have all of the strings in the way. But on a handpan, you have a hole at the bottom of the drum, so it's very easy just to stash handfuls of cash in there. Which just this last weekend, I made about $700.
$700 street performing. Wow.
Yeah.
How long though? How long were you working, you think?
It was all day, every day.
Oh, all day, every day. Okay.
But if you're in a large metropolitan area, those are easy numbers.
Yeah.
If you're good.
That's fair, yeah. If you're good, it's a big, that's the thing too. It's kind of interesting you bring that up. That's the same thing with bartending. We do the same thing. Big event, if I'm bartending a big wedding, I gotta have the big glass jar. It's gotta be glass, because they gotta see how much is in there, or lack thereof.
And you probably do the same thing.
Show us how to street perform.
All right, so street performing with a handpan specifically, or any other instrument, right? All I ever do is I kind of just play some chords like you would on a guitar. The handpan is a little bit different than most instruments in the sense that you only have about 10 notes. So I have my low one here on the top, and then the rest of the scale kind of works its way up.
So 10 notes, how does that translate then to like a traditional like 12 note?
Scale. So what you're looking at is, and the main difference between the handpan and a normal steel drum is a normal steel drum is a chromatic instrument like a piano. So it has all of your notes. This here has a pre-selected scale, and they have some really funky scales too.
Oh, so you can kind of decide, because
when you buy one, you pay one to be made for you, you decide what notes go into it.
Wow.
So this one is the most popular scale on the planet. It's called the D curd 9. So it's a 9-note ring with the low D. So it's a harmonic minor, which means it's all the notes of F major, but from the D, making it its relative minor. So you have like D, A, B flat, C, D, F, G, A, C. I think this is high A? I don't know. I haven't looked at the chart in a while. I don't actually read music very well. I play mostly by ear, not like an annoying, oh, that's a C sharp, you know. I'm not Charlie Puth. Not Charlie, but I couldn't remember his name. Not Charlie Puth, not Jacob Collier. I'm Tokiejoestar, bitch.
Yeah, there we go. So you would get situated here, and you would.
Sorry, I wasn't talking to you. I was talking to that female dog down there.
Yeah.
Actually, you want to pan over to it? That's a cute puppy.
That is hilarious. Look at there. Dogs out here.
Yeah.
Now back to me, Mike. What are you doing?
Look at your man. Now back to me. Now back at your man. Now back to me. Notice he doesn't have a handpan like me.
Yeah. I'm curious, what's a song, because you play by ear, what's like a song super popular?
Well, the one that's most well-known, it's my most viral video of all time.
Toto's Africa, right?
You ready?
Yeah.
Hey, shut up. I'm trying to play Toto's Africa on the handpan, okay? That was the video.
Dude, I saw it in real life.
You saw it here. Look, he saw the
This
thing
is a
I'm known for.
live show, live performance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've done actual shows, but they've never asked me to do that.
Really?
Yeah. They didn't say, do the TikTok you did.
Damn.
Do the TikTok that you did in your parents' basement.
Do thing.
that right now.
Yeah. Oh, we did. We did.
We did here.
What's can you play Happy Birthday on that?
Hold on. So I play by ear. So I can.
So if I sang it?
No, I got it.
That was beautiful.
Thank you.
That was gorgeous.
I had to close my eyes though for it to work because my brain doesn't.
Okay, I got a question. If this doesn't work, we'll cut it. It's fine.
Okay.
But maybe you can do this. This is our theme song for the podcast that we actually don't get to use quite often because my computer's broken. We usually shoot the show live, but we will get to use it for this episode because it's pre-recorded.
Let me hear it.
Let me see if I've got. When was the last episode we used this bad boy here? Should start up here in a second. Real simple.
Money. Money in the bank. Sounds like you're not killing anybody.
That's all. Nice, simple.
Hopefully these guys are American. Sounds very nice. Dave sounds like a lion. Hell yes. Look at that.
You call your audience the D-bags?
Absolutely, I do.
Man, this guy is mistreating you specifically.
No, we've got a great toxic relationship. We don't talk about it.
That makes sense.
We don't talk about it. Okay.
Talks.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So we are out here. So I don't know if that's possible.
Hold on. Let's see. I'm trying to figure out the chords.
Yeah. Welcome. So it's welcome to the Detox Podcast. Yeah. Welcome to the Detox Pod, where we don't know what the hell is going on. Welcome to the Detox Podcast. Wow, this is like Tiny Desk out here, bro.
Yeah.
We're out here. We're out
Tiny
here.
Desk, call me.
Tiny Desk, he's out here.
Please.
So, okay, so
Tiny Desk, I will put out an album eventually,
he'll do it.
as soon as I learn to produce for myself.
So before we get to the didgeridoo and eventually wrap up here, I want to know what are just some other fun things. I guess if there's some quick hitters, fun shit specific to the handpan or specific to you playing the handpan.
Quick
as a street
hitters,
performer.
one thing everyone asks me to do is the bwing.
The wing.
The bwing.
How do you even type that to ask?
BWIELW.
All right, let's drop some of those in the.
Okay, you ready? Bwing. This is a normal hit. That's a bong.
Okay.
Bong. You ready for the bwing? One more time.
That is distinctly different. Yes.
That's a bwing,
It's
man.
a bwing.
So there's that.
I feel enlightened now.
You know
so
what
that's
other
one.
people really like?
Yeah.
They like it when this happens.
This guy, clap it up for him, Mike. Clap it up, bro.
You
We
just
gotta-
got rickrolled with a handpan, my guy.
Are you seeing this? Are you seeing this? That's a street performer right there, bro. If you rickroll somebody on the street, you deserve $1.
That's a $1, guys.
That's $1, bro.
And just like that.
Do it for all day, you get 700 of those.
Exactly.
For a whole weekend.
Exactly. So that right there makes you, or anyone else, a professional street performer. The moment you get your first $1. Now,
Yeah.
that's not my first.
Yeah.
Won't be my last. But that $1, for the sake of the tutorial on how to street perform, that's everything. You
Yeah.
play the song, you do the thing, you go out in public, and you're not nervous about it. Boom, money in the jar. And then you take that money home, and then you tell the IRS about it like a good boy.
So, I kind of, when it comes to the, right now, TikTok is obviously your biggest platform.
Yes.
Right now on TikTok, specifically the NPC challenge, the NPC live thing is huge.
Yeah.
When are we gonna see an NPC live with you in the handpan?
What would the NPC
Because you could
live
do,
with the
you could
handpan
do,
look like?
dude, the boom could be a bigger
You know what?
donation.
Now I'm thinking about
You
it.
know, certain I gotta touch this one.
Okay.
Can I touch this once?
Yes, you can.
By the way,
Before you
this
do,
is big.
allow me to give you a little bit of a.
Give me a breakdown. How to touch my first handpan.
Okay.
So I want to
So
tap
first
that.
of all, realize that this is a giant metal titty. You need to ask for consent. And now it's not its consent. You have to ask for mine.
Okay.
Because it's my giant metal titty.
I would love to touch, in many ways, your giant metal titty.
Thank you.
Yes.
I also enjoy touching my own giant metal titty. So I'll tell you what. I will give you permission on one condition.
What's that condition?
Take off your metal jewelry.
No metal jewelry.
No metal jewelry.
Okay.
That's very important. It will surface scratch the handpan because it's made of a very soft metal, and we don't want that to happen.
Trip is gone.
We're good.
Trip is gone.
We are perfectly
I'll
fine.
hold it. Okay.
So
okay.
now what you're gonna do is I make this stuff look easy playing the handpan. All
your
I'm really doing
hands move.
it's exactly what you
Like
did.
that.
A little effeminate flamboyishness
Yeah.
is actually necessary to play the instrument. In the
Okay.
sense that, like, if you kept your wrists stagnant and not loose and limber, you would not be able to play the drum as easily as you can with this kind of whip motion. Because when I'm hitting the drum, each one of these little tone fields acts as a drum head. The only difference is when you're hitting it, unlike a drum head, there's no tension there that's strong enough to like expel your finger after you've hit it.
Yeah.
When you hit a drum head, it bounces. This don't bounce.
Yeah.
You have to make yourself do the bounce.
Yeah.
So when I'm hitting it, to make it ring, I'm having to make it bounce myself. So I'm moving my finger down and I'm using my wrist and my arm to pull away so that I don't just poke it. Because if I'm just poking this thing, it doesn't let the membrane in each little tone field ring.
Yeah.
So if you just were to do this, nothing were to happen.
Pretty lame sound. Yeah.
It's like playing a guitar string, but you're only pressing down halfway. It just nothing happens.
Yeah.
So when you bounce your fingers off the flat part of the tone field, you can get those sounds. And to do the boom and other things, you'll notice that these are ovals. The actual steel drum note is not an oval, it's a parabola. So if you take two parabolas on top of each other, you get an oval and an oval, which is how you get this sound. So you get the ability to have two harmonic tones like you have on a guitar string. So you have your octave and your fifth. So how you're gonna hit this is you're just gonna take your finger, and if you can't hit it with your finger, we'll do it with the side of your thumb. You're just gonna gently kind of bring it down and strike it and pull your hand away, exactly like that. Pretty good, not bad.
I'm a natural.
Try. There you go. Now we'll
Look
move
at
that
me,
around the
look at me,
drum.
look at
So
me.
just hit the flat part, not inside the dimple on these ones.
Just right in here?
Yep.
Oh man, that's gonna be a weird angle for me. Oh.
There you go. And just move up the scale.
Oh wait.
You're starting to poke it instead of flick it. There you go. Now you're back.
Wait, check me out. Check me out. Check me out. Check me out.
Oh, now that
was too hard?
Too hard.
Too hard.
So
oh
these things are pretty delicate when it comes to retuning them. It's like a piano. You got to
You
go
have
to
to
a
retune
professional.
this.
Yes. Now you see this little divot. If you zoom in right here, do you see that little divot right there on the handpan? That is from where I dropped it. And this
can't be dropping it.
That note has never been the same. You can hear it wobble a little bit.
Yeah.
That's a direct result of what happened. So these things are crazy expensive. Tuning them isn't as bad if you're near someone who knows how to tune them. Typically speaking, if it's really bad, if it's badly damaged, they'll separate the two halves that are just held together with a really strong glue and adhesive. But I've had to get a couple of mine retuned. Thankfully, all my tuners are fantastic people. But it's expensive to own one of these instruments. So if you are a child or a kid or a teenager or even an adult who doesn't have a lot of money and this has been your dream for a long time, like, oh, the handpan, I want one, my friend got one, I need one in my life. There are a couple cheaper alternatives. Number one, this thing called a tongue drum. There are plenty to choose from. I think I actually have a link for some on my link tree on any of my TikTok or Instagram or anywhere else. But there's a bunch of companies that make really efficient tank drums, which instead of having tension like this, like a normal steel drum, they just have a little cut in a thicker sheet of metal. So it's more like a chime or like a xylophone, but it still will teach you the physical mechanics of how to play one. That, or there's another company I worked with a while ago, and they make great musical instruments called the Ravvast, R-A-V-V-A-S-T. They make tongue drums that have the same microtones that the normal drums have. And they're actually tanks because they are made of a thicker gauge steel than a normal handpan is. I've dropped them on occasion and they've never untuned for me. Really? Because they get the sound from the laser cut shapes on the top of the drum. So I play them. That guy who plays those little things, and the guy who plays the, you know,
I have
big
seen.
mouth.
Okay, yes, I have seen.
Yeah,
this guy.
like that, the little Cardi or whoever it is, Playboy Cardi remix.
Yeah.
It was like, whatever with that. He's a friend of mine named Walker. He plays this instrument too. I actually got him into playing the handpan.
Okay.
But he plays all the different types of instruments that I play too. So there's a lot of people on TikTok who have these instruments. The only thing I'm going to say is if you see your favorite content creator trying to sell you a specific instrument, understand that there is some internal motivation behind why they're asking you to do so. Whether they personally stand behind the product or not, it's something that you need to use your own personal intelligence to determine if it's actually a good product or not. So check out product reviews. Don't just take my word for it. Even if I would get some kind of portion off of the sale or the deal I have with the company, I'm an honest person when I tell you, don't buy something just because I tell you to. Actually do a little research and look into it.
Make sure it works for you too.
If I'm working with the company, understand I've already done my part of the research to the point where I at least would.
You feel all right. You feel all right.
I don't work with
it.
it. I've been offered company deals with so many different tongue drums, and even though funds are tight, I don't have a full-time job anymore. I'm trying to make music. I'm trying to get an album out. I'm trying to do all the things that would let me live off of music and content full-time.
Yeah.
I'm still not thriving here yet. I would like to soon, but in the meantime, I'm never going to sell you guys something or tell you to buy something that I don't personally believe in. So,
as you shouldn't.
As you shouldn't. There's a lot of content creators who do, so just be wary of it. But if you do want a handpan, you want to know my recommendations, shoot me a DM on Instagram. I'm totally down to earth, and I love talking to everybody. So
well, and getting kind of bringing that full circle, man. Why don't you drop the Instagram real quick and the TikTok so people that are checking this out can go follow you there.
My name is Tokiejoestar on all of the platforms, literally all the platforms that exist. You can take that to the furthest conclusion that you want to.
Yeah, we'll have a link down below too.
That would be great. Yeah. So my name's Nathaniel White. Tokiejoestar on all the things. It's about to rain. I have a metal drum. We should probably...
Let's not get rained on. But I do want to say I really appreciate you being on the show, man. It's been awesome. Honestly, good to see.
Wait, I'm sorry. I didn't realize you were a short king until I just stood up. Okay.
That's messed up, man. He's in boots, on cement. He's got an extra 2-3 inches on me right now.
Okay, well,
there we go.
No. The man bun
with the bun, makes us even. But no, I really do appreciate you taking the time.
I appreciate 100%. You guys coming all the way here from Milwaukee just to hang out with me, of all people.
Dude, it's been cool even so far. I'm sure we're gonna get to know some cool stuff. Before we wrap, do you want to hit us with just a didgeridoo?
In fact, I won't just hit you with one. We will do some didgeridooing.
All right, let's get it. Let's
absolutely do some didgeridooing.
Hit a didgeridoo. Do the didgeridoo. I don't know. Yeah. He's going in. The breath control.
Well, that's circular breathing, actually. You can breathe out and breathe in at the same time. And here's some of the Digipack members, by the way.
Yeah, let's get these guys a little shout out here. Yeah. The homies. You're on TikTok as well, right?
I am on TikTok.
Wait, why don't we give it a shout out? We got other guys here at Digipack.
Yeah, at High Fidelity, CHAIFIDELITY.
You want to give us your thoughts on Wallach?
Oh, Wallach? Yeah, he fucking sucks.
True.
He's the absolute worst. Wallach, terrible guy. Honestly, I couldn't think of like a single, entity, figure, egregore that I dislike more than Wallach.
Yeah.
He's just the worst.
Wallach is the worst.
Like, think of the worst guy you know.
Wallach.
Wallach is worse. Yeah. Wallach is worse than that, though.
Wallach is worse than Wallach.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is. He is.
Hey, you want to grab the other ditch and we can play it together? Yeah. And do you want to be known on the social medias?
I know you're not on social medias like that, but you're a fan.
On social media. Just follow these guys, dude. They're funny, and then
this is Miguel, great guy.
So yeah, great guys.
Yeah, this is Miguel.
Digipack people, if you guys decide to come to Digipack next year, you will meet us.
Yes, you'll meet us.
Alrighty, you guys want to
Let's hit him one last one. Thank you and a goodbye from dtalks here.